Well, y'all, I knew this day would come. I could just feel it in my feelers that one of these days we were gonna have to talk about Ethan Klein and or iDubbbz. And lucky for me, it's in the same video. Now, if you're just looking for the final update, I'll just give that to you right now. On June 15th, iDubbbz posted a video called Apologizing to Ethan, where iDubbbz says, yeah, Ethan, I'm sorry for what I did, and then Ethan shows up in the comments and is like, no worries, iDubbbz, I'm not suing you anymore. I'm glad that this ended without going to court. However, the dumb decisions that got us to this point that kicked off this entire episode, they make me upset. So I'm still gonna rant about this. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we're gonna be glossing over some child abuse and neglect allegations, so if you're not in the mood to hear about any of that stuff today, maybe you'll want to sit this video out. Even though it's all complete cap, I still feel like I should give y'all a heads up. So the initial thing that kicked off this little episode here, the bro moment that began it all, actually comes from Destiny of all people. He made this comment that appears to have been made in someone's Twitch chat, and it reads as follows. Daily reminder that Ethan from H3H3 is likely a pedophile who molested his own children. And this comment ended up getting screenshotted and shared in this subreddit called H3 Leftovers, which appears to be a subreddit full of people who do not like the H3 crew for various reasons. And on one fateful day, iDubbbz decided to fire up a Twitch stream where he had a dragon VTuber model for some reason. I have absolutely no idea why, but we ball, I guess. And he decided to browse this subreddit. So of course, he sees this comment and then he makes the baffling decision to do this with it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is my watermark for the stream. I don't want any of my content being stolen. Got another Couchy ad? I'm sorry, Fazium. We're all getting Couchy ads these days. It's okay, so I do want to say I don't agree with what's being said in this comment here. But I'm putting it on screen because I think it should be addressed because it's a big, bold accusation that's very fucked up.
So if you're like me, when you first saw this clip and you heard iDubbbz say he doesn't agree with it, but he's going to make it the watermark of the stream because Ethan should address it, then you probably asked, why are you asking him to address it, and why are you making it the watermark of the stream? And this is where we're going to have to go back a bit. So that community that we mentioned earlier, they've been dubbed the H3 Snark community, and Ethan has had problems with them for a while now because apparently, allegedly members of this community made a false report to Child Protective Services in order to get them to go to his home and allegedly sent human skulls to his house. Now that CPS call is going to come into play a little bit later, so we're going to put that on the back burner for now. But like, I don't watch the podcast or anything. Did I just not hear about a story where Ethan angered a coalition of witch doctors? Does Ethan just live next to a voodoo priestess and their packages just got mixed up or something? I didn't even know you could just send that stuff through the mail like that. The skull thing doesn't even have that much to do with the story right now. I'm just blown away by this specific detail. Anyways, this community and these incidents caused Ethan to adopt the stance, hey, if you bring my kids into this online beef that we have, you're gonna get sued. And sue Ethan has. At least, I think there's like 5 suits that he had. One of them was against this snark community and the other was against creators that would lambast him online. I admittedly haven't ventured too deep into those, so I can't opine on whether he's in the right or not for them. Except for the snark community one, if they actually did call CPS and send the skulls, absolutely sue those nut jobs. But iDubbbz did know about these suits, and he got to thinking, hey Ethan, if you're willing to sue all those other creators for stuff that they've said, but you're not going to sue Destiny for this comment, what's up with that?
Enlargia says, so Destiny is a reliable source of info now, or is it only people we don't like? We? Who's we? You? I don't know who you are. But I will say, shit like this should be addressed. Especially from the guy who's suing 3 women right now, or now it's down to 2. And extorted, well, not extorted. What's the proper word? Settled and bullied. I like that. Yeah, that's the technical word, is settled. Also, I will say that I think Ethan Klein is terrified of this guy. So it's just kind of like legit. It is to me, it's super funny that he has so much smoke for everyone that he thinks he can bully, but the person that he's fucking terrified, he just keeps very overtly running from.
So that's what iDubbbz claims he tried to do by having that comment stay on stream for like 40 minutes. Interesting move by the Dubster, can't recall seeing something like this too many times. And so a few months passed, and then finally on June 9th, straight from Ian's mouth, he reveals that he is in fact being sued by H3. And the very next day, we get a podcast episode where the H3 crew talks about this thing. Now, if I may interject here, even though absolutely no one asked me to, there is a point in this clip right here where one of iDubbbz's own viewers is asking him why all of a sudden he's treating Destiny as a reliable source of information, or treating his comment as worthy of any acknowledgement. And Ian once again says he doesn't agree with the comment, he just thinks Ethan should address it. But part of me wonders if Ian knew what he was doing, like he was fully aware that someone was just gonna pop into the stream, see this Destiny comment, and think it actually held water. I've seen a lot of people trying to give Ian the benefit of the doubt, and you know what? No shade to those people who do. You do you. I'm just very reluctant to do so. I may just be jaded, because I've seen a few people try to slyly spread misinfo like that just because they didn't like someone. But I also don't know much about this guy besides the really big stuff. Anyways, back to the H3 podcast episode, and this is where Ethan starts to shoot himself in the foot, in my opinion. So this dude sits in his chair and he tells us with a straight face, yeah, I'm gonna sue iDubbbz, but I'm not gonna sue Destiny, the guy who made the original comment, because he made it jokingly, and he cleared up immediately after the fact that he was joking.
Now, I know people are like, well, why don't you sue Destiny for saying it? Well, Destiny made it immediately. First of all, this is a comment from Destiny, like made in passing. Ian put it on his screen for 2 hours during his main broadcast. Destiny made it clear that he was not being serious, right? Pretty much immediately after writing it. Like, nobody was like, yo, Destiny made this claim that Ethan molested his children. Oh, shit. No, people knew that when Destiny said it was like, he was just being a dickhead. Or, I mean, he was being a giant fucking piece of shit, right? But he immediately afterwards made it clear that he didn't actually think that. But Ian took that, and just because you're showing what someone else said doesn't make it not defamation, because you're showing essentially this accusation bare of context and also kind of saying that you think it's true, right?
Now, before I go in on Ethan a bit, I just want to fix my sights onto Destiny real quick, because he's trying to claim that, yeah, I made this comment as a joke. Hilarious joke, man. Now, I'm fully aware I am not one of the elite 250 comedy assassins out there, but what part of this is supposed to be the funny part? Is this just the setup to the joke and then Destiny forgot to hit send on the punchline? Or anybody that watches Destiny, does Destiny actually really like Ethan, or at the very least constantly defends him from like pedo accusations to the point where his own fan base would know that Destiny was joking, and this is just one of those things that you would never get unless you were kind of part of that community? Because that's the only way I could see this being a joke, is if it was sarcasm that's flying over my head into the stratosphere. But I guess Ethan sees it as enough of a joke to not sue Destiny. Anyways, Ethan also says he's not suing him because Ian was actually a close friend of Ethan's, and even after their falling out, when Ian talks about H3, they treat his word as having more weight than other people because they were close at one point. And you know, I can see where Ethan is coming from there. And he even brings up the fact that iDubbbz, in the content deputy he made on H3, actually defended the CPS call that was made on him.
Ian has deeply aligned himself with the snark community that is basically responsible for and celebrated CPS coming to my house to take my children away and sending human skulls to my home. These are two things that on the snark Discord they have on the banner. They have a skull with CPS on the forehead. They think it's funny. They love it. They're proud of it. And iDubbbz aligns with them, shouts them out, calls them great people. He's browses the subreddit on his live stream. He's in deep with them. In fact, even in his follow-up to his content cop, he justified it. He says, I think it's good that CPS was called and investigated that.
There was this H3 stream where Ethan was dumping as per usual. He was talking about his own health. He was talking about his caca breath, his dog having diarrhea, his dog having giardia.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
His child running around putting things in their mouth.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
The whole family possibly having giardia.
Oh,
and
no.
now Ela has giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
What can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying to...
Because I'm not trying to get it.
No, it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Talking about the viscosity of his child's shit.
And meanwhile, he is covered in viscous, low viscosity
Yeah.
diarrhea.
So, of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over the years, other people react to his content. And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poop, people are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat.
Hard disagree with iDubbbz here. This call should not have happened at all, and I'm going to tell you why. Buckle your seatbelt, gang. It's time for another one of my tangents. If you want to skip this entire spiel and get right back to the main story, I'll just put like a timestamp on screen or something. Okay, now admittedly, Ethan did himself absolutely no favors in how he described this, especially the part where he said the kid was covered in diarrhea. I am hoping that when Ethan said that, he just meant that the kid had diarrhea all over his butt and then they cleaned it right away. And he did not mean the kid was literally covered head to toe in the stuff. Now I want to readdress that thing Ethan said about it's really crazy to get, you have to like eat my poop. Technically yes, but there's a lot easier ways to get giardia than just 2 girls, 1 cup in it. So I'm just going to show you a couple screenshots from this website that I have here. I actually think they got bought by BuzzFeed a while back, but I think they're still a reputable source. CDC.gov says, giardia is protected by an outer shell called a cyst. This outer shell allows it to survive outside the body for weeks to months, for example in soil or water. It also helps protect giardia from being killed by chlorine disinfectants like bleach. Giardia can be in water or food, or on hands, surfaces, or objects. So if I may put my thinking cap on and start LARPing as Sherlock Holmes, Ethan made it sound like his dog got it first, then it spread to his kid, and then Hila. So my guess as to what happened is the dog got giardia first, playing outside, doing whatever, and then the dog came back inside, possibly before even showing symptoms at this point. Sat down somewhere, and then the germs got from the dog's butthole onto the ground or whatever surface it sat on. And then sometime later, the kid crawls over a surface that the dog was sitting on, then he sticks his hands in his mouth, and then boom. And this can all happen in a relatively clean house. Now keep in mind, I am not a microbiologist or anything like that. I'm just a big nerd with a search engine. However, if this info was this easy for me to find, you figure the snark community should have been able to find this as well. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention Ethan's in this podcast says Ian has retweeted people wishing death upon his family. I looked a little bit through Ian's Twitter and admittedly I didn't see those tweets, but I admittedly didn't look too far. And I also didn't really feel like typing in the search bar I want his kids dead or something like that. You know, between you and me and the jokes that I made on this channel about transporting explosives across the country via plane, I'm probably already on at least one list. I don't really need to go for another one. But hypothetically, if Ian did retweet that stuff, that's not really what you'd use a defamation suit on. That's more like intentional infliction of emotional distress and or a restraining order. However, you absolutely can hit someone with a defamation suit if they say you molested your own kids and they were knowingly lying. You know, the more I think about this case, the more I almost wanted this to go to court just to see what would have happened, even though that's very selfish of me. Because both iDubbbz and even Destiny himself, the guy who made the original message, are like, yeah, we don't believe this is true, but Ethan is still like, iDubbbz, you knew what you were doing when you had this on your stream as a watermark. You were trying to spread this and make people believe it was true.
Basically rebroadcasting this comment uncritically. And also, if you kind of, I don't know how it works in Canada, if the complaint is public or what. But if you look at it, he emphasizes throughout that he does think it's a serious accusation that needs to be investigated and that he doesn't think it's a joke.
It's okay. So I do want to say I don't agree with what's being said in this comment here. But I'm putting it on screen because I think it should be addressed because it's a big, bold accusation that's very fucked up.
And while, yeah, iDubbbz said, I don't believe this is true only a few times in that clip, he still did say it multiple times. So even with lax defamation laws, could you even win? I don't know, man. I've never seen a case quite like this. However, I am glad that this didn't go to court. So this podcast episode comes out. iDubbbz himself is like, yeah, I'm being sued. And then the Moist Man himself actually chimes in. And he actually gets in contact with both of these people. And he says, iDubbbz tells him, yeah, that was stupid of me. I'm going to issue a sincere apology to Ethan. And then Ethan prepares like an entire press release. And it reiterates a lot of what was said in that podcast. But there is something here at the very end that I want to focus on. Remember how a bunch of people were like, hey Ethan, why aren't you suing Destiny? And one of the theories people came up with is that iDubbbz lives in Canada, and over in Canada, it's easier to win a defamation suit than in the US where Destiny lives. And in the DM that Ethan specifically said Charlie could share in the video, according to Charlie, Ethan specifically said, yeah, share this DM, I'm comfortable with this one being shared. This freaking guy straight up says that one of the reasons he's suing Ian is because it's easier to win a defamation suit in Canada. That right there is probably the dumbest thing Ethan could have said. He really did just prove iDubbbz's point that he's going after targets more because he thinks he can win against them, rather than them actually bringing up his family and their beef. And I'm not saying Ethan doesn't care about his kids. I think he does. I'm just thinking, if you're gonna sue iDubbbz for putting this comment on stream for 40 minutes, even though he said multiple times in that clip he doesn't believe that what that comment says is even true, I feel like you have to also file a suit against Destiny, who made the original comment, even though he also said that's not even true. Like, by Ethan's own rules, they both did the thing that would get them sued. And let's say, even if Ethan sued Destiny and lost, at least it would have shown Ethan was truly following through on what he said. But now I think a lot of people in the US are going to feel more comfortable saying crazy stuff about Ethan because they think he's not even going to try to sue him. So all of this goes down, we're all biting our nails looking to see, oh gosh, what's going to happen? And then on whatever day I said, iDubbbz uploaded the I'm sorry video. And in a shell nut, the dubster outlines why he did what he did. Same thing we heard prior, Ethan going after some people but not others. He was angry at that, so he decided to do this whole thing with the Destiny comment, which he admits was a stupid thing to do. Says he shouldn't have brought the kids into this, and he's sorry for insinuating that he believed that comment had merit. Now, whether we believe he's sincerely sorry or he's only sorry he got caught, I'll let y'all be the judge of that. It is worth noting though, in that stream clip where he talks about getting sued by Ethan, he doesn't look that distraught. He honestly, to me, kind of has the demeanor of somebody who's like next in line for a roller coaster and that they've been waiting in line for 10 minutes for. But hey, it was good enough for Ethan to hop in the comments and say, hi Ian, I appreciate the thoughtful apology, it means a lot. I've instructed my attorneys to drop the lawsuit entirely. And just like that, this entire thing is over with and we don't have to worry about it. I would say to pop the champagne bottles now, but considering how late to the party this video is, that bottle's probably been empty for a while now. You know, in that video, iDubbbz says that I should have never brought that comment onto my live stream. I think if iDubbbz was browsing that sub and then he saw that comment and was like, hey Ethan, you're suing all these other people, why aren't you suing Destiny? And then he just left it at that and kept scrolling, I think iDubbbz would have been completely in the right. Because all he was doing was asking a question at that point. And it would have only been on stream for like a few seconds. It's the fact that this dude made it the watermark on of the stream and left it on for as long as he did. It's just wild to me that he thought that was a good idea. But like I said, we are officially done here. We can all move on with our lives. And a little bit of PSA from me to you, don't drink stagnant water. You might get giardia.
I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. Nowadays on cruise control. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. And just like that, I'm on the road. Reese's Puffs, peanut butter chocolate flavor. Reese's Puffs, in the AM, it's the flavor.